What do Dave Rennie's All Blacks need to do to stop France this weekend in the first round of the Nations Championship? France are going to be powerful, incredibly rough, incredibly strong, and we've seen what they've done in the Six Nations. And we've seen the form they've come in with. I think they are going to be a very tough side to match up against. Now, there was talk about France bringing a weaker team, but there obviously hasn't been a weaker team brought because they did hold back on the Bordeaux players coming due to their involvements with their club. But they're back now. They're in the squad, and I think they will be coming in firing for this big matchup because this is going to be huge to see where these sides are at. Now, for the All Blacks, this is a new side. This is Dave Rennie's new squad where this is exciting. We're going to see his first lineup and possibly some really interesting calls to move forward, because of the fact that he is playing people on form, not on just their name within the All Blacks. I can see the All Blacks pushing really hard for these first few wins to gain momentum with this side. But I can also see a few issues coming through early on, and there definitely will be. Whenever we see a new squad, a new coach involved with a team, there are always going to be different combinations, different style, and we're definitely going to see a different style because of this faster paced side that Dave Rennie wants to build. So it's going to take time, and we may see a really difficult match to watch this weekend between these two sides, just because this All Black side, they have not played together at all. A few of them, of course, will have, but there are a lot of new faces, a lot of young faces, and a lot of new matchups altogether. So we could see some tough to watch footy this weekend. But hopefully not. Hopefully we see an All Black side that is up for the French challenge. And when we look at the French side, there is a huge challenge within this. They have come off winning the Six Nations at the start of the year, yet again. And they didn't really feel hugely challenged until that last match versus England, where it was nearly taken out of their hands. But I can see France looking really good against the All Blacks. This game is in Otautahi, Christchurch, at the new 1NZ Stadium, so it'll be really cool to watch this game there, as it's going to be a battle. It is going to be a battle. Now for France, no Antoine Dupont, but they're not missing out. Well, they are missing out hugely there, but we know they do have a lot of depth at halfback. And they don't really get much game time, so this is a big opportunity for those players to cement that they are the second halfback in their country. Because we know Dupont is the best halfback in the world at the moment, and for the past 5 years. So it's going to be big for these guys. It's a big opportunity for these guys to show where they are at with their rugby. Now, when I look at this All Blacks side, there are a few 50-50 questions for me. There are some really interesting battles. And I think the French have a lot of strong players up front that could try bully the All Blacks. They're going to have to be up for the battle here, the All Blacks. We know Ethan de Groot is highly likely going to start. just because of his experience in that black jersey, and Tyrell Lomax or Fletcher Newell. I'm pretty sure they may go with Fletcher Newell just because of the combination that Scott Robertson built last few seasons, but that still doesn't mean a whole lot. We may see Tyrell Lomax come off the bench, but we do not know yet. It's all pretty up in the air until Dave Rennie makes the call. At hooker though, I think Cody Taylor may get the start. Tokiaho has been the informed hooker and Omar, but Tokiaho is really battling for Taylor for that starting place. But I think leading the haka and vice captaincy here for Cody Taylor, I think he should get that hooker spot for the moment at least. Tokyo will try win his jersey there in that hooker position. Now, there are a lot of really exciting players for France up front, and we'll see a lot of power with them. So, these hookers for the All Blacks, these front rowers for the All Blacks, are going to need to front up. And we've seen that in Super Rugby. There have been some really good scrummaging within the season, but it's a different battle when you face the French front rowers. Also for France, they have some big beasts at lock and in the back row. We could see Gilliard starting, and I'm not sure who will. Maybe Miafau will take that other locking position, but when we look at the All Blacks, I see matchups there because Tupou Vaa'i, what a battler. This guy should get the starting position for the All Blacks. He has been a stunning player within the Super Rugby for the Chiefs. And it will be interesting to see where Dave Rennie goes for that second lock position. Does he go experience Tuipulotu with Vaa'i, or do they go more on form Josh Lord for the Chiefs and have that combination that they have brought for the Chiefs, Tupou Vaa'i and Josh Lord? I think they should go with Josh Lord, just because Josh Lord has shown that he is up for big battles like this, and I think that combination will work well since they have played with each other so much. That should carry through from the Chiefs to the All Blacks. Now to the back row, this could be a huge battle here. It's an interesting area for the All Blacks, since there are a lot of really versatile loose forwards here for the All Blacks, and that's most likely why Duplessis Karifi wasn't picked, and that it was a huge miss out. So that shows how good the All Blacks are in this loose forward area. So I think there could be questions here. I believe, in my opinion, Ardie Savea for sure has to be in that 7 jersey. And then number 8 should be either Lakai, Parker or Satiti. And this is where I get so 50-50 here. Does Lakai go to that number 8 and Satiti go on that blindside flanker? Or do they put the likes of Simon Parker at number 8 and Satiti at number 6? Or the other way round, Satiti at 8 and Parker at 6? It could be interesting to see where they go here. But I think Lakai has done enough to get that starting spot. So I think Ardie Savea at 7, Lakai 8 and Satiti at 6. Now this is going to be big for France here with the players they have matching up within this side. We could see a lot of big battles here, and a whole lot comes down to these loose forwards and how they control possession, how they win the ball back, how they tackle, how they lead the game really, and create an engine for the backs. It'll be interesting to see how these guys match up here. And it's largely a quite unknown French fullback for me. I don't know how well they will work against each other, these two forward packs, and how good this French forward pack really is. And I think for sure they will be a tough forward pack to battle against, because we know France have a whole lot of depth in their rugby. So we could see some really interesting forward rugby there. Now, the backs is where it gets even more interesting. Halfback, for sure, starting halfback for the All Blacks is Cam Roigard, and it would be a battle of the best halfbacks in the world between Roigard and Dupont. But Dupont has pulled out of this first match because of an injury he sustained for Bordeaux. So that means most likely Maxime Luchu will come into that number 9 role. Now, he is a really exciting halfback there as well, and he has been also renowned as a possible new Dupont that is really going to test Dupont for that starting role. On the other hand, for on the bench for halfback role, this could be interesting. I don't know whether they'll go Cortez Ratama or Kyle Preston, as I've heard from some pundits that they may go with Kyle Preston because of the fact that he wouldn't have been selected if they didn't believe he could come into that reserve halfback role. And I think his impact he creates with the Crusaders is so important to their success. So I think he will come off the bench here. And then for the first 5/8, or fly halves as the Europeans call them, this is a really interesting battle here. And interesting selections for Dave Rennie. Now, I really am liking Ruben Love, but you cannot look away from experience in big matches. This is going to be a huge selection here on who they pick here. And some are saying to leave Ruben Love out until that match against Italy. But still, I do not believe Italy are a rollover. They are such a good side, and we've seen that in the Six Nations. They are actually contenders for this Nations Championship and will kill these big teams if they do not put their best game out. That's why I think Ruben Love should start this first game. And Dave Rennie's told the media that he is going to be selecting on form, and this is the biggest move for him. If you want to select on form and show that you are selecting on form, you have to pick Ruben Love here. Yes, McKenzie has been in huge form in Super Rugby, and he has been vital to the Chiefs' wins throughout the season, but still, I think we saw in that Super Rugby final, Ruben Love can play incredibly to any sort of conditions and has such a good passing and kicking game and is consistently performing to a top level. I think you have to give him that number 10 black jersey for the All Blacks straight away and give him the keys to the locker room. Otherwise, he will not be able to build in that role, and we may not get the solid player we have seen in the past at number 10 for the All Blacks. And that is simply because to become that solid number 10, you have to have time in the jersey. That's why Ruben Love should get that number 10 jersey and has a big future ahead of him here. Now, fly halves for France. This is also an interesting selection. Do they go Intermac or Jelly Bear? I think they go Jelly Bear. Jelly Bear's been a superb player, and he is such an exciting prospect for France, and can control games, can produce chances, leads the backline with his great experience and the way he can communicate within the side. But I think this will be interesting to see where they go with this and how largely they stack up their side for France. Alright, onto the midfield. I think this is relatively simple for me. In the All Blacks, Jordie Barrett has to be starting 12 and Tupai has to be starting 13. It's as simple as I want it. And this is just because these two players have been the best by far midfielders in Super Rugby this season and have to take those starting roles. Billy Proctor seems like a more of an outside player, only really going to get his chance maybe in South Africa or possibly due to injury. But I think Anton Leonard-Brown goes with that experience and ability to play both 12 and 13, goes to the bench. Now in the centres for France, this is also quite unknown for me. Mofana, I know him relatively well, but the rest of them don't really stand out to me. And that is probably because I haven't really focused in on France rugby in the most recent times. But I think they always bring excitement within their backline. And that's why we always look towards their outside backs for their best rugby. And I think they have some incredible depth out wide that could really put pressure on this All Blacks side. Now, one player who has absolutely stood out for me in the past year or so has been Theo Adesogbe, and his ability to produce incredible opportunities. Now, he may not be incredible defensively, but I can definitely see him creating challenges for this All Blacks team. Now, where he could match up is the physicality of the All Blacks outside backs, and I think where they want to go against the French is have that defensive and attacking physicality and go straight out of the blocks with Caleb Clark and Fehe Finianganofo. I was going to say Leroy Carter, but I think Caleb Clark has that little bit more experience and a little bit more, it's tough to explain, but he just seems more of the physical type than Leroy Carter. But we know Leroy Carter likes to get in and get dirty. But what I've seen from Caleb Clark at the Blues, it hasn't been outstanding, and that's simply because the Blues haven't got the ball to him. And I think when we give Clark an opportunity on that wing, he has looked pretty impressive for me. Leroy Carter, he's come back from injury and put in some really big performances. But there could be interesting selections here to see whether Dave Rennie does want to go with Leroy Carter and bring him into the game, or do they rotate it around Caleb Clark and keep, I think Finianganofo surely has a spot in that starting team, or possibly off the bench if they want that experience to kick us off. Finianganofo is of course shown his ability to score tries is top class, and I can see him putting a lot of pressure on France and on the international stage. Will Jordan... Now there have been questions whether he will get back in time. He will get back in time. And I'm not sure whether they'll want to start him straight away, straight out of injury. But I feel like they will, since it's such a big match against France, and they want to work those combinations. So I think Will Jordan will come straight into that 15 jersey, meaning Josh Morby will be left out. But he will get his opportunity within the year, I think. So overall, this French and All Blacks matchup is going to be an incredibly exciting one, and it's going to be interesting to see how Dave Rennie rolls out his team for this series of matches that they're playing for the Nations Championship. Now, a lot to look forward to with not only this game, but so many more big matches that are up for the Nations Championship. The new tournament that has been created and creates a bit more on the line for these sort of matches. I cannot wait to see how this rolls out, and I cannot wait to see you here again. Thank you for listening in, and I'll see you later.